Hey folks, my name is Rich Jacobson and I'm addicted to pickleball. My background is tennis, over 54 years of competitive tennis, including Division I and as a teaching pro. I was first introduced to pickleball about 2 years ago on a visit down to Naples, Florida. And I came back and talked to the guys on my tennis team about it, and of course they all laughed at me and made fun of the name, as well as what they knew of the game as being for just old people like Naples or the villages. But when I played my first tournament about 1.5 years ago, I was hooked. As a matter of fact, I haven't picked up my tennis racket since. When I did play tennis, based on my, thanks to my parents being only 5'7", I never blew people off the court with my power. I did it with a lot of variety in my strokes, a lot of off-speed, angles, drop shots, lobs. As a matter of fact, my nickname was Sneaky Strokes. So today, in Pickleball Tips, I'm going to talk about the art of deception. Today I want to talk about deception, and one of my favorites is in the game of doubles when my partner is returning serve. I'm up at the kitchen line, of course. What I'll do once he returns a serve is I will take a step to the middle, giving my opponent the belief that the line is open, and then of course I'm faking him and going right back to the line and waiting for that ball and putting it away. Now, since January 25th, we have a drop serve. I'm sure all of you know this by now, but what I love again as part of the deception is when you're serving, you can hold your arm out and look like you're going to drop it, and of course your opponent's expecting that, and what you're doing is you're catching it in the air and hitting your normal serve. That is another way to surprise your opponent. Just like in basketball, football, the eyes are very important in pickleball, and what I love to do is let my opponent think that I'm hitting the ball over there, but in actuality, I'm misdirecting it and hitting it over here. The shoulder fake and the misdirection is another way to deceive your opponent. Now I want to talk about two different shots that combine the deception of the lob and the drop shot. When you're lobbing, most of the time people will lob as a defensive shot. I do it myself quite often. But there are other times when you've got your opponents up at the kitchen line and you see an opportunity to get it over their head. The idea here isn't necessary to win the point with your lob, it's to create a weak return, whether it be an overhead or just in backing up and making a weak shot so that my partner or I can just put the ball away. Now with the drop shot, where it ties in together is, once again, everybody knows about dinking. I'm not talking about dinking. I'm talking about, again, making it appear like I'm going to hit a volley hard, but at the last second, I stop it and drop the ball over the net. Once again, quick players can get to that ball, but what they're going to end up doing is popping it up and it's going to be a put away. Now, my absolute favorite shot today is what I call the drop overhead. In tennis, I never had a real powerful overhead, and in many cases I will let the ball go over my head and run back and make a shot. I do that in pickleball as well, but oftentimes in pickleball the overhead is not a winning shot. The better the player you're playing against, the more they're going to get to that overhead. However, once you've established that you can hit an overhead, what I like to do is make it look like I'm going to hit that overhead, and at the last second I just drop it over the net. That I call the drop overhead. If it doesn't win the point, it certainly sets up the shot for my partner to win the point. So to summarize, the art of deception is not a unique skill to myself. Anybody can do it. You just have to think about how to take advantage of the situation. If you like this video, just hit that button and subscribe, and stay tuned for the next one.